that is the thing that we have to be careful with. If we knew that we married a good man and that he's been there for me, why would it change because he married again?
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Nazir.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, his wife.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Nyla. I'm also his wife.
And we are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. So with that being said, today we want to address a myth. And the myth is that your preference makes a principle. This is what I mean. So people say, oh, I support polygyny when it's done right. Like, what other part of your life do you ever say when it's done right? Like, ask me if I want something to eat when y'all ask me.
Can we do it together?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and role play this role. So I'm sitting here hungry, right? I'm hungry. Now go ahead. Something.
Do you want something to eat?
Yes, if you cook it right.
Oh, God.
Does that sound crazy? Does that sound insulting? You know what I'm saying?
As a mug.
It doesn't make any sense because there's a whole default setting. So with that being said, let's talk about what I mean. We all have our preferences in life, okay? Now, because you may prefer something one way or prefer it a different way, doesn't necessarily mean if the thing is allowed and okay, good regardless, that this way is right or this way is wrong. Like, my favorite color is not her favorite color or whatever. Favorite foods, they differ, right? We're all humans. So with that being said, let's talk about polygyny. In polygyny, there's a couple different things. We talk about best practices, and the reason we talk about best practices is because we know that there are different ways to handle situations which may not be best for everyone. However, in general, they cover the most amount of people. So when it comes to polygyny, let's talk about just one thing in particular. When it comes to practicing polygyny, we encourage people to have a discussion, all right, when you're newly married or as you're evolving in your marriage, to have a discussion regarding polygyny. Why? Whether or not you practice or intend to even practice it, it's good to have those open, honest communications so that you may learn each other. Now, we also state it's absolutely 100% okay for a woman to initiate the discussion.
Yes.
It's okay. We are adults. Initiate the discussion. It's better to do that than it is to be fearful, uncertain, sure, suspicious.
Yeah.
All of that, address it. Be an adult. You may or may not like what comes out of it, but at least you did address it. It wasn't something hanging in the air. As a man, it's more your responsibility if you want to practice it, but you can engage in a discussion or you can just pause and delay the discussion. So what I mean, many times brothers are like, look, okay, cool. I'm married. I want to practice polygyny one day when circumstances are right, get my money together and so on. So maybe 5 years, couple years, or even longer, but I know I do want to do that eventually. So what they tend to do is when they have a discussion on polygyny or joking about it, the wife may bring it to them, they're like, no, I'm not interested in polygyny, baby. All right. And they're not at that time. They have an open and honest conversation, even if it's saying, you know what, let's revisit this in 5 years after I get my money right, or when circumstances change, or I, increase my leadership skills, or whatever it may be. It's having that discussion. Now, this is what I mean with preferences don't determine principle. If you do not have a discussion, and he does decide to get married, the practice polygyny, actually take the action, go ahead and do it. And you didn't learn until later.
Hey guys, we want to just step in here for a few moments and give you some really important information.
Indeed. We get asked quite a bit about, where should I start? What should I do when it comes to marriage? Do you do premarital stuff? What about polygyny? And we do. We actually have a course called the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle. So let me tell you about it very briefly. You can go ahead and check it out and decide whether or not it's for you. Basically, every single week, one of us releases a brand new topic along with worksheets, okay, and downloadable audios as well in our private members area. Because if you're enjoying the video that you're watching now, I think you will really enjoy going a lot deeper again, depending on where you are in your relationships. So with that being said, you can go ahead and check the information out. Again, whether you're practicing polygyny, you intend to, you want to get better, But the main thing is if you want to be outstanding, above average, then you may want to definitely check out the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle.
So make sure you click the link in the description and let you get back to the video.
Well, your preference is to be told about it up front, and that's what we encourage. All right, that's what he should have did. However, notifying you later doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's not best, and it's not even good. In most cases, it's not. I mean, you open up a whole other bag of stuff that you're not really ready for. Okay, so it is best practices, again, to do that. However, your preference doesn't make the principle. The principle is to practice in marriage.
Clearly, preference doesn't make principle. You have some other examples of how sometimes people think that it needs to be this way, or he or she must be this way first in order to, they put these extra conditions on?
I think what they do with that extra condition, with the condition, it's you grow the way I want you to grow when I want you to grow, so that I can accept it, so that I can embrace your growth. That's what I want you to do. So they'll look at this and this must be perfect, but your marriage wasn't perfect before that. You weren't perfect. Your spouse wasn't perfect, but you got to have all this perfection now in order for me to allow you to live your life the way I want you to live it. There's so much control that they don't want to relinquish.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother preference right there that they will want to make principle.
Yes.
Well, now you need my permission. You should absolutely have a conversation. You should have an understanding. But permission isn't necessary.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the preference that many people want to turn into principle. And then they go, oh, if that's not met, if they don't have my permission, then, oh, what about the pain? Now my pain should prohibit you from ever doing it. Right? So my emotions are more important than yours or anybody else's. So that preference makes it principle. And no, it doesn't.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Were you going to say something?
I was going to agree, but it was just a lot of other things that were flying in my head because you did a video about the marrying again when a woman is pregnant. So that was, or the wife is pregnant. And it was a lot of preferences that went in the comments about that thing. And it could be a sore subject, and it could be the different energies and things like that. But the same thing that Coach Fatimah and I talk about a lot is that our husband is our husband 100% of the time. So even if he married again when someone is pregnant, he's still your husband during that time. He still should be there for you. Still these different things. So the preference would be wait till the baby is here. But then what about after? There's would it be another preference that say, well, wait till the baby goes to school, or wait till the baby start walking, or would it be another thing or another thing? Right. So would it be another thing, So that's the first one. Go off to college.
Get real detailed.
Right.
So when it comes down to that, and I had to bring that one up because that's a tough one for us to swallow as women because, we know what pregnancy feels like. We know the ups and downs of emotions. But to put that, to go through that and say, well, because he married again, he's not going to be there for me. That is the thing that we have to be careful with. If we knew that we married a good man and that he's been there for me, why would it change because he married again? So even though it's a preference, it could be an understanding preference. That doesn't mean that it has to be the thing that it is in order for your marriage to succeed or for any other marriage to succeed that he has.
Yeah, totally.
Indeed. So as an example with principles, one of the principles I had is that I'm going to be at the birth of my children. Now, that wasn't always ideal. I used to work a traditional job. I was a CNC machine operator, school bus driver, taxi cab driver, all kind of blue collar stuff way back in the day, right? And I was there for my first daughter being born, second daughter being born, third daughter being born, fourth daughter being born. All of my children, all of them. Even when I had to leave work, I had to call in to work. Forget that because I knew that something was very important to me and I planned to be there and do everything within my power. Of course, it's easier once you become an entrepreneur, work from home or something like that. And the last 3 children, I helped deliver the first one, kind of helped the midwife and all that, caught them. But then the last 2, I delivered them. All right. Now, scary, one of the scariest moments ever in life. But I should probably get an Oscar for the way I didn't portray it. But alhamdulillah, everything went well. Now, the whole point is That's the principle that I set up for myself. This is what I intend to do with all my power, is to be there when my children are born, because those moments are extremely special, not just to my wives, but to me as a father with being there.
Yes.
Right? That wasn't a preference. Preferences can change. You can like something, not like something, all that. But for me, as that principle, I'm holding that down no matter what. So understanding the difference and the significance of that is a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
That's good. But knowing that, I'm glad it made me think of something. And Coach Fatima and I talk about this a lot too, about what if something is going on your day and blah, blah, blah. I remember very vividly the birth of my bonus baby, and everything like that, because it was actually a night that it was technically, my night, I guess if you want to call it that. People say my night or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was this information that was given that this little baby was born. Like I said, I remember it vividly because
Me too.
Of course, she
was dying on the living room floor.
His birthday on the Islamic calendar is Eid, the day of Eid. So it was like, I would never forget that. And it was a beautiful thing. But the whole thing of knowing that I'm going to be there for the birth of my children, that was nothing that was going to be a problem, but it was still very solid. And we talked about this in one of our other videos about being consistent and being solid. Those are things that, wives like. Those are things that women like. And it shows that.
These are universal principles.
Yeah.
Dependability, accountability, reliability, all these illities. Those are important. You know what I'm saying? Those universally, like somebody's not dependable and you can't trust. All of that stuff is very important. These are universal, and it should be that much more so in your marriage. Now, are you going to get it right all the time? No, I can say that with certainty. Will you get into it and have conflicts and disagreements and all this type of stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But it's how you deal with it in that spirit of love and being open and growing and allowing the other person to grow at the same time. Now, here's the thing. If you are being the best that you can be and you're growing, then you also want to make sure you're watering, that you're also allowing that sunshine to come in and everything else to help those around you grow, because you can't force them to do anything. All right. What we can do is force ourselves to be better and rethink why we give certain meaning to things. So one person can absolutely be excited and ecstatic about going to the gym, right? Well, two people. One person wakes up 4:00 in the morning, tired. Like, nah, not today. While the other one's like, tired, but I gotta get it done today. All right, same motivation, but they act differently. Same pain, same soreness, same thing, but one translates that into transforming my body and they attach it to other stuff. I'm more healthy, I'm there for my family, there for my children. I'm able to worship better, I'm able to do all types of things better. So I have to do it. It's a must. It's not a should, because people should all over themselves all the time. Should do this, should do that, blah, blah, blah. They should all over themselves. No need for that. When you change it from a should to a must and you question the meaning on why, that's a sign of maturity and moving in the right direction. That's a part of growth, but we're not going to a whole training. So,
Sure.
So
I think another thing too is that we need to quit focusing on making someone else look bad so that we look good. People get so obsessed with it, let them look bad so I can be good. I can be the winner. And then they make it a competition and you end up hurting your marriage within that.
Right.
So while you keeping score and making yourself look so good to yourself, because you're not attractive to nobody else, trust and believe, and you looking super ugly, because when people are people watchers, they can tell that's what you're doing. They can tell it's divisive. And then if they can't see it, they can feel it. So you have to be really mindful when you're, especially in marriage and in polygyny, like with births or marriage or kids graduating or bearing parents, death. We don't expect each other to not be where we need to be. Yeah. I was gonna say nourish fulfillment, but I won't. I'll say that at the end. But we expect each other, because if one of our parents, and they have, passed away, we don't want to look for where our spouse is.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to try to find you. Because see, this is what it was when you asked or when you wanted to get married, was that we're going to be here for each other. And that's what family does. So we don't expect the other one to not be there or not need him or not call on him. There's been fires. There's been all type car crashes.
Tragedies and triumphs.
Exactly.
And we're there for all of it.
And we're all shifting, just moving and shifting and seeing where we can help. Or if we need to pull back and not help and let him do it and not get all into everything. So we kind of know our lanes and we stay in them. And that's important. If you want polygyny to be successful, stay, find your lane and stay in it. Unless somebody wants advice or they need assistance. And if they're scared to ask, offer it. But don't get mad when they say, oh no, I'm okay. But thank you, because sometimes we can get in our feelings. But yeah, stop making people look bad so that you may look good, because that's just serving your ego.
Right. I remember a mentor told me a while ago, said, listen, there's two ways to build the tallest building. Either you got to get that strong foundation, you got to get the pillars right, that core right, and you just build it. Take the work to build it tall. Or you can just tear all the other ones down around it. Tear all the other ones down around it.
Like a toddler.
Like a toddler.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, know the difference between preferences and principles. And your preference does not make the principle. When we understand that, again, that's on the path to growth and development and making sure you could develop good, healthy principles that build your family. And I know we talk about a number of different things, all right? And we're congruent, cohesive, and we have fun and everything with it. But also just remember, when I told you at the beginning, I've been married to Coach Fatimah for over 26 years and Coach Nyla for over 11 years, that we are in our chapter 11 in this book on polygyny, okay? And at our lives, not our book. Let's talk polygyny, let's be clear. But we on chapter 11 in our journey in polygyny. And chapter 11 looks far different from the first few chapters. Okay, understand that the best books, movies, whatever it may be, you get the ups and downs, the triumphs, the tragedies, all of the type of stuff, but the goal is to get to that happy ending. All right, and it may not necessarily look the best to begin with, but if you're working on it, we are all the artists that create that masterpiece. Ooh, that was nice. We the artists that create that masterpiece. Say it again. Anyway, with that being said, we're gonna wrap up with GLC and leave this in the comments so that we know you made it to the end of the video and we can show you some love. Principles over preference. Leave that down below. We'll shout you back out. And next time, not make you use so many big words in saying it. We appreciate you sticking in and rocking with us, making sure you subscribe, of course, in that bell for the notifications.
Yeah.
GLC.
Make sure you're growing intentionally.
Loving fearlessly.
And connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.
Here are 3 ways outstanding personal relationships can help you.
Make sure you guys are following us on our social medias at Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook, and on IG at Outstanding Relationships, and also Clubhouse under our names.
And make sure you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com and sign up for our email list. And there you will get updates on our new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored.
Absolutely. And last but not least, when it comes to coaching or counseling, if you want to work with us one-on-one or in group settings, make sure you're on that website and reach out to us, because we do have very limited spots and we usually have a wait list. So with that being said, GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally,
Loving fearlessly.
And connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.